I made my first million at 34, I made my second at 38, and I spent the next 20 years of my life more anxious, more empty, and more lost than I had ever been when I had nothing. Nobody tells you that part. My name is Raymond. I am 75 years old. I built a real estate business from nothing. Grew up with parents who could barely pay rent. I knew what it felt like to want something and not be able to have it. And I swore the way only a hungry young man can swear that I would never feel that way again. So I built, and I earned, and I accumulated. And somewhere along the way, without noticing exactly when it happened, the money stopped being something I had and became something that had me. I want to tell you about that, because I see the same thing happening to people around me every single day. Smart people, hard-working people, people who are building towards something they think will finally make them feel safe. It won't. Not the way they think. And I want to tell you why before you spend 30 years finding out the hard way. You have a number in your head. You might not have said it out loud. You might not have even fully admitted it to yourself. But it is there. A number that represents the point at which you will be okay. Safe. Free. The number at which you can finally stop worrying and start living. Maybe it is a salary. Maybe it is a net worth. Maybe it is a specific amount in your savings account. And right now, you are working toward that number, making decisions based on that number, sacrificing things, time, relationships, health, present moments in service of reaching that number. Because once you get there, everything changes. Once you get there, the anxiety goes away. Once you get there, you can finally breathe. I am telling you right now, as a man who has hit several versions of that number over the course of his life, the number moves. It always moves. When I was 26 years old and had almost nothing, I told myself that if I ever had $100,000 saved, I would feel secure. I hit 100,000 at 31, and for about 3 weeks, I felt it. That quiet sense of, okay, I made it. I am safe. Then the feeling faded, and a new number appeared. Not consciously chosen, just quietly there. A little higher than the last one. I hit that number. Same thing happened. Brief relief. Then a new number. By the time I was genuinely wealthy by any reasonable definition of that word, the anxiety was worse than it had ever been. Because now I had something real to lose. Now the fear was not about building. It was about protecting. About the market. About the economy. About what would happen if it all went wrong. I remember sitting in a financial advisor's office when I was 52. He was showing me projections, charts, scenarios. And I looked at this man, this very competent, very reassuring man, and I realized I was not listening to a word he was saying. Because all I could think about was the conversation I had not had with my son in 3 months, the vacation I had canceled for the 4th year in a row, the look on my wife's face at dinner the night before when she asked me if I was happy and I did not know what to say. I had everything the 26-year-old version of me had prayed for. And I was sitting in a financial advisor's office at 52, unable to answer the simplest question a person can be asked. Are you happy? I left that meeting and I sat in my car for a long time, and I did something I had not done in years. I tried to remember the last time I felt genuinely, simply, quietly content. Not proud, not successful, not relieved. Just good. Just present and alive and okay with everything exactly as it was. I could not remember. That was the day everything started to change for me. I want to tell you something about money that took me 40 years to understand. Money is a tool, an important tool, a genuinely useful tool that solves real problems and creates real options. But a tool is only valuable when you are the one holding it. The moment the tool starts holding you, the moment your entire emotional life, your sense of safety, your identity, your worth as a human being becomes tied to a number in an account, it has stopped being a tool and become a trap. And the trap is so well designed, so culturally approved, so completely invisible, that most people never see it. Because we live in a world that tells you accumulation is the goal. More is better. The number going up means you are winning. And if you are anxious, well, that just means you need more. More will fix it. But more does not fix the anxiety. More feeds it. Because the anxiety was never about the money. The anxiety is about something underneath the money. A feeling of not being safe, of not being enough, of needing something external to confirm that you are okay. And that feeling cannot be solved by any amount of money, because it is not a financial problem, it is a you problem. And the only way to solve a you problem is to go inside, not to a bank account, not to a portfolio, not to a financial advisor, and do the actual work of figuring out who you are and what you actually need to feel genuinely alive. I want you to ask yourself one honest question. If your income stayed exactly where it is right now, not grew, not shrank, just stayed, what would have to change for you to feel genuinely okay? Not rich, not set for life, just okay, present, alive, at peace with your days. Whatever comes up when you ask that question, that is the real work. Not the extra hours, not the next investment, not the bigger number. The real work is figuring out what you are actually trying to feel, and then finding a way to feel it that does not require you to sacrifice your entire life on the altar of a number that will always be just a little further away. Money is not the problem. Your relationship with money is the problem. Fix that, and everything else becomes simpler. Tell me in the comments, what is your number? The one in the back of your head that represents safety. And more importantly, what do you think will actually change when you hit it? I want you to think about that honestly, because the answer will tell you everything about where your real work is.